One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, 10. Check one, two. Great. Getting it. AC, if you can hear me, let me know.
February 15th meeting of the Monroe County Board of Commissioners. I will note for the record that all three commissioners are present in the Nat U Hill room. And we'll start with our commissioners' public statement. We, the Monroe County Board of Commissioners, renew our commitment to welcome and protect the rights of all people, regardless of age, race, color, creed, disability, sexual orientation, gender identity, marital status, economic status, and national origin. And we affirm the right of every person to live peacefully and without fear. And we will fight and resist at every step discrimination and harmful policies, whatever their source. We also stand in support of our county public school systems, both RBB and MCCSC. And now we will move on to department updates. Is Ms. Kelly with us?
Yes, good morning. Monroe County remains in the low community level. As of February 11th, XBB 1.5 has accounted for around 75% of the US cases. About 65% of US wastewater surveillance testing sites are reporting moderate to high virus levels. Wastewater surveillance reports from City of Bloomington and other labs show virus levels at Monroe County's 2 wastewater sites are trending upward.
Questions or comments?
No, I don't.
No, I don't. Thank you.
Are we starting our own testing at this point?
With Indiana University, I think they are still working on that, on getting that testing up and going and training the lab personnel.
Great, thank you.
Thanks.
And is it through the wastewater testing that we're determining what the local viruses are, what strains we're seeing? Is that how that's being done?
Yes, that is correct. So the data that we pulled today is from the City of Bloomington, so Blue Pool and Dillman, as well as pulling reports from the CDC and BioBot. That is what is reflective of the 65% that we are seeing now.
Thank you. All right. Thank you very much. Are there any other departments that have an update for us? Seeing none, we'll move on to public comment. This is for items which are not on the agenda. We have a limit of 3 minutes per speaker, and if you wish to speak, please state your name and whether or not you're a resident of Monroe County. Is there anyone who wishes to make a public comment? Seeing none, let's move on to approval of minutes.
I move approval of the minutes for February 8th, 2023.
Second.
Are there any comments or corrections?
No, I don't.
No,
I had one correction that's been taken care of already, so I really appreciate that. Okay, call for a vote on approval of the minutes, for February 8th, 2023. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 3-0. Next item.
I move approval of the claims docket accounts payable February 15th, 2023.
Second.
Are there any comments or questions? Seeing none.
Report.
We need the report. Sorry, thank you. It has been a day already for many of us. Yes.
Good morning, Commissioners. Accounts payable for February 15th, 2023 is $8,071,970.60.
Now, are there questions or comments? Yeah. Now, I went through all 44 pages and it was quite a lot this week. Yes. Okay. If there's no comments or questions, public comment? Is there any public comment? Seeing none. Call for a vote, approval of the claims docket for accounts payable February 15th, 2023. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 3-0. I will note for the record that we have a report from the treasurer for January of 2023. We'll move on now to new business.
I move approval of the 2023 primary election day poll sites.
Second.
And we have Ms. Martin with us. Good morning.
Good morning, ladies. As you see before you, this is our poll sites for the primary. We have 18 for the city and town of Ellisville election.
Thank you. And these were approved by the election board. Is that correct?
That is correct, last week.
Is there any comment or question?
No, I don't.
Commissioner Thomas? Is there any public comment on this? I noticed when I read through it, there are a lot of school locations, and so I want to thank our school districts for making that possible. Because those are ADA compliant, and that's always a big thing, and parking is accessible, so it's fabulous. Okay, so all those in favor of approving the 2023 primary election day poll sites signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0. Next item, please.
I move approval of the agreement with Indus International, Inc., fund name County General, fund number 1,000, the amount of $3,250.
Second.
And again, we have Ms. Martin.
Okay, this is our book scanner at the clerk's office. It's a high-tech device that takes pictures of our old books from multi-angles and gives us a searchable index. This is the agreement that we have with them that basically covers any maintenance during that. Let's say that the glass would break on the equipment, they would cover that for us. The cost is $32.50 a year, and it runs from January 2023 to December 31st, 2023.
So we're digitizing our records.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you. Comments or questions?
That's always a good thing to do.
No comments.
Is there any public comment on this item? Seeing none, I call for a vote on the agreement with Indus International. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 3-0. Next item.
I move approval of the Midwest Presort Agreement for 2023 primary and general elections, fund names, election and county general, fund numbers 1215 and 1000 in an amount not to exceed $31,500 per year at $12 per day.
Second.
Okay, this is our company that we hired to pick up our ballots. If we send our ballots through regular mail, it takes about 7 days to get them to the individual. This company comes every day during early voting and picks up our ballot, takes them to Indy, does the pre-scanning, and the voter actually gets the ballot within 2 to 3 days. The one that says $12 a day goes to the clerk's office, and that is when Midwest picks up our mail at the clerk's office and does the same procedure. On an early voting election, you'll see that it says not to exceed $31,500. We put that, we pay that in for postage, and whatever we don't use, they reimburse the county general fund.
Thank you. Questions or comments? Commissioner Jones?
No, I don't.
Commissioner Thomas?
No, I don't. Thank you.
Is there public comment on this item? I appreciate that fact that absentee people who wish to vote by absentee mail-in ballot get their ballots in a timely manner so that they can get them back in time for them to be counted in the election. So all those in favor of the Midwest Presort Agreement for 2023 primary and general elections signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 3-0. Thank you, Ms. Martin.
Thank you. And I also want to remind you that we have ballot viewing today at Election Central. You may have heard a lot of noise in the background. We've had a nice turnout this morning, and come on down and look at the ballot.
Thank you. Next item, please.
I move approval of resolution 2022-04 highway surplus property.
Second.
And we have Mr. Kreider here to tell us about this.
Good morning, Commissioners. Richard Kreider, Fleet and Facilities Manager. This request is to approve the surplus of 3 pieces of equipment for the Monroe County Highway Department. Inventory item 81, a 1987 Fiat crawler, estimated value $10,000. It's been replaced with new. Inventory item 89, 1998 Galeon Komatsu grader, estimated value $20,000, replaced with new. Inventory item SW08, 2001 Chevrolet Silverado K 1500, estimated value 500. It's been replaced with new. This equipment will all be sold at auction.
Thank you. Questions?
No, I
Mr.
don't.
Commissioner
No
Thomas?
questions. Thank you.
I do appreciate seeing the pictures. It's, the visuals always help me, so
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Is there any public comment on this item? And these will be sold at auction?
Yes.
correct? Good. Okay, all those in favor of resolution 2024 surplusing highway property, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0. Thank you, Mr. Kreider.
You're welcome.
Next item.
I move approval of an agreement with Lamar Billboards for Safe Place, fund name Runaway Homeless Youth, fund number 8120, an amount of $9,050.
Second.
And we have Ms. McCammon here to tell us about it. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Cassidy McCammon, and I am the new Outreach and Safe Place Coordinator for Youth Services Bureau. We are again working with Lamar Billboards this year to promote Safe Place throughout Monroe, Owen, and Greene counties. Well, two billboards will be placed, one in Owen and one in Greene. This is to specifically address the Runaway and Homeless Youth Grant that asks us to focus on the rural communities that we serve. Lamar has given us a goodwill rate. They've cut production costs from $1,200 to $600, and these billboards can be moved at any time throughout the counties. They're estimating that these billboards will give us about 8,000 impressions per week, and they will be up from March 2023 until March 2024. And I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Commissioner Jones?
No, this is something we've seen repeatedly.
No, it's a nice long time span too, so good. Thank you.
Yes, and I want to thank Lamar Billboards for giving us a cut rate on the production, especially.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. Is there any public comment on this item? Seeing none, I call for a vote on the Lamar Billboards agreement for Safe Place. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0. Next item, please.
Move approval of National Cinemedia Agreement for Safe Place, fund name Runaway and Homeless Youth, fund number 8120, in the amount of $5,000.
Second.
And again, Ms. McCammon.
Good morning again. So National Cinemedia, NCM, this is also a repeated part of our outreach strategy. They use both in-theater advertising and streaming advertising to educate and promote awareness about Safe Place. They run the ad before every PG-rated movie, and then they play the ad in the lobby every 12 minutes. There will be, specifically for in-theater advertising, they are doing that for the 8 weeks over the summer months that the kids will be out of school. And then in playing the ad in the lobby, and the streaming ads will be 32 weeks from May 22nd to December 31st. So the digital component of the streaming, they call it OTT and CTV. I'm not quite sure what that means, but basically what it means is that they would be showing ads through Hulu, Amazon Prime, those streaming services on devices that have been in a theater recently.
Thank you. Commissioner Jones?
No, I don't.
Commissioner Thomas?
No questions. Thank you.
Any public questions on this? Again, I think it's a great service and appreciate you taking care of this. All those in favor of approving the agreement with National Cinema for Safe Place signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion passes 3-0. Thank you, Ms. McCammon. Next item.
I move approval of the Butler Fairman Seaford Inc. supplemental number 1 for Karst Farm Greenway. Fund
Second.
name 2020 Geobond Trail Expansion, fund number 4813, in the amount of $8,065.
Second.
And we have Ms. Ridge here to tell us about it.
Good morning. After we changed the direction of the trail extension to a southern piece of property, it will require an additional right-of-way acquisition for 2 parcels. So the engineering and for the right-of-way and the appraisals is $8,065 to include those 2 extra parcels.
Right. Thank you. Questions or comments?
No, I'm just glad this is moving forward.
Appreciate the tenacity.
Yeah, you never let go of something, do you?
Try not to.
Yeah.
No, with today's prices.
Ooh, yeah. there any public comment on this item? Seeing none, I call for a vote on approving the Butler Fairman Seifert supplemental for number 1 for Cars Farm Greenway. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 3-0. Next item.
I move approval of an agreement with Lockmuller Group for the Bicentennial Trail Fund name Cumulative Capital Development Fund, Fund number 1138, in the amount of $100,300.
Second.
Ms. Ridge again.
So the original contract for this project was completed in 2020. It was an anticipated construction season of 2021. The first time it went to letting, it was unawardable due to the cost of the project. It has now gone back to letting. It went in December. You'll have a contract after this one for the construction and to move forward with that project. The increase of the contract is $100,300, which it's only 7.44% of the overall actual construction cost, which is very low for a typical project and what we see. So we're glad Lockmuller worked with us on this additional cost.
Thank you. Comments, Commissioner Jones?
Yeah, I'm glad this worked out.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yeah, it really is a bargain. So good work.
Yes, I have no questions or comments. Ms. Purdy, did you have something?
Yes, sorry, just wanted to make sure everybody understood that this is an additional amount. So the total is 300 and some thousand for this component. Just
Yeah.
wanted to make sure that
336 is the grand total. You had already approved the 235,700.
Yes. Thank you. Is there any public comment on this item? Seeing none, call for a vote on the Lockmuller Group Agreement for the Bicentennial Trail. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion passes 3-0. Next item.
I move approval of NDOT Amendment number 4 for Bicentennial Trail Phase 1, Fund name Cumulative Capital, Fund number 1138, in the amount of $4,724,417.07.
Second.
Ms. Ridge again. Thank you.
Okay. Again, this project actually began in 2009 as the Unionville Rail Trail. So we had to change the direction of that project in 2016 due to the terrain on the west side or on the east side not being able to accommodate that trail expansion. Again, this is the project that went to letting in May of 2022. It was then moved to December 2022 letting. The cost of the project both times came in a little over $2.5 million over what the engineer estimate is. So NDOT reached out to us, and if we were able to pay our local match of the 20%, they would step up and increase the amount of to make it an 80-20 project. So this is for that additional $2.5 million increase to complete the project. It has been awarded, and we actually have our first pre-construction meeting on Monday.
Wow. Any comments or questions, Commissioner Jones?
It's just been a long time coming.
Can you clarify the dollars which are coming from Cumulative Capital, which are coming from NDOT?
yeah, she has to clarify the dollars coming from
Oh.
CUME. So this is a reimbursable grant. And CUME is going to have to pay up to the 4,724,000. However, we'll get that reimbursed. I think the project itself is like 6 million.
So the overall project from 2009 has been estimated over a little over 6 million. The construction portion of it, NDOT bills us for 20%, which is actually being paid out today. That is our portion of the construction. The construction inspection, we will pay out 100% out of the CUME cap, which actually will be a grant fund, turned into a grant fund. We pay 100% of that cost, and then we are reimbursed the 80% from NDOT for construction inspection.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, I do want to note that we did pay the 900,000 that was not budgeted actually. So CUME has taken a bit of a hit for 2023. And we'll probably continue to do that through 2023, maybe 2024, but just so we are clear.
I have a quick question. First of all, 14 years, that's an incredible length of time to stay on top of a project. But what's the length of that portion of the trail that,
It actually, I don't have the exact length off the top of
Approximate,
my head,
approximate.
but I will tell you, it goes from the Bloomington city limits, which is about Audubon Drive. And it goes right below Fire Station Hill, right past the fire station. It's overall drainage improvements, shoulder widening, and it's basically to help alternative transportation in that area, getting towards the originality of this project was to get the bicyclists, pedestrians towards Lake Lemon. So there could be future phases of this project, not at this point, just because we are pretty well stretched to the limit on the dollars, but the goal would be next to go to like a Robinson Road and then out to Tunnel Road. So that was how this project originated.
It's a great project.
yes, thank you. Is there any public comment on this item? I think all the people who choose to cycle out there will really appreciate this.
Yeah, it's a big project, but it'll be nice when it's completed.
Yes. Okay, so I call for a vote on the NDOT amendment number 4 for the Bicentennial Trail Phase 1. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes 3-0. Next item.
Move approval of the NDOT Community Crossing Matching Grant Agreement for various paving projects. Fund name Rainy Day, Fund number 1186, and the grant amount of $835,759.30.
Second.
Ms. Ridge again.
Twice a year, NDOT does a call for projects for community crossing matching grant. This is actually the award from our July submittal of 2022. The roads that are included in this is Steinsville Road from State Road 46 to Mount Carmel Road, Harmony Road from State Road 45 to Rockport Road, Chapel Hill Road from State Road 446 to Guthrie Road, and Union Valley Road from West Maple Grove to DeLapp. It's a total of 10.78 miles. At this time, the crews are out replacing any necessary pipes, doing ditching to prepare these roads. We've already put them out for bid. A contractor has been awarded, and as soon as the asphalt plant opens and they can put it in their schedule, these roads will be completed this summer.
Thank you. Comments, questions?
No, I don't.
Done. I'm sure that people that, especially those who are residents in that area, will appreciate the repaving. People ask why things take a while between the repavings. It's very expensive,
Very expensive.
especially because you're not just going out and laying the asphalt, you're doing the other things.
Yeah.
For the drainage and whatnot. So is there any public comment on this item? Seeing none, I call for a vote on the NDOT Community Crossing Matching Grant Agreement. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 3-0. Thank you, Ms. Ridge. Next item.
Move approval of ordinance 2023-08, Steinsville rezone.
Second.
And we have Mr. Myers here to talk to us about. Good morning.
Thank you. Good morning, commissioners. Can you hear me all right?
Yes.
Okay, great. I'm going to share my screen for a presentation here. Okay. All right, so this is the Steinsville rezone. It's broken up into 3 parts. That was how it was taken to the Plan Commission. There's essentially Part A, which is a rezone request from general business to high density residential. It includes 6 parcels totaling 1.5 acres. It's in Bean Blossom Township, Section 17, at the addresses and parcel numbers that you see on the screen. And then there's Part B, which is 4 parcels totaling 0.64 acres in Bean Blossom Township, Section 17. And those parcels are also requesting to going from general business to high density residential. And those specific parcels in Part B are actually currently vacant parcels. Part C is 2 parcels totaling 4.14 acres in Bean Blossom Township, section 16. And that request is going from agricultural rural reserve to institutional public. And those two parcels are adjacent to the former school site and also involve the existing fire station in Steinsville. Okay, so here we have the Plan Commission's recommendation. This was heard during the January 17th Plan Commission meeting, where the Plan Commission voted 7-0 to forward this petition with a positive recommendation to the county commissioners. There were no conditions of approval attached at that time. So here's a little bit of a background. Again, Part A is going from general business to high density residential, as is Part B. Both of those combined 10 parcels total. The purpose of Part A and Part B is to provide the appropriate zoning designation for residential uses along West Main Street. Part C is a rezone request for agricultural reserves into institutional public. And that is the intention behind that is to clean up the split zoning in the area and have a reduced lot size requirement to accommodate a future subdivision that is going to be going in for the fire station so that it can sit on its own unique property. If approved, the petitioner, the town of Steinsville, and the individuals that own those lots that are in question will have a more suitable zoning designation for residential development for that area. Part A is a lot of residential lots currently acting as residential. And again, like I said, Part B is vacant parcels. So currently along West Main Street, anywhere that's general business, any type of residential use existing or not existing would be pre-existing non-conforming or not permitted, respectively. There also, if approved, there would be a more suitable zoning designation for the existing fire station, as well as a minimum lot size requirement that fits with the existing fire station and that future subdivision that will be occurring through the town of Steinsville to put them on their own lot. Okay, so if denied, Parts A and Parts B of the petitioner, town of Steinsville, and those individuals that own those properties may continue to operate the properties under the general business zone. However, much of the existing uses will remain pre-existing non-conforming or not permitted at all if it's residential. If denied for Part C, the fire station may continue to operate under the Ag-RR zone as it is a permitted use in that zone. However, the property itself would remain split zoned IP and agricultural rural reserve, and there would be an issue with the lot size requirement with the agricultural rural reserve zone. The minimum lot size for that zone is 2.5 acres. So a little bit of background to the Steinsville zoning in general. The planning process employed in the development of Steinsville rural community area began in 1996 with the adoption of the comprehensive plan. Then late in 2004, the principles of that plan were the foundation of the designated community planning effort. In October of 2005, and then sequentially in December of 2005, that plan was adopted for the Plan Commission. And then in March of 2010, the Monroe County and town of Steinsville entered into a interlocal agreement regarding planning and zoning authority. And that's where that current zoning came about now, where all along West Main Street is general business. The Steinsville Rural Community the Steinsville Area Rural Community Plan was updated to reflect the inclusion of the town's properties under the county's planning efforts. So here I have a couple items that show what the zoning came to be at the end of the interlocal agreement, or the initiation of it, I should say, in 2010. The right map on the screen, that is what the current zoning is now. And you'll note that all along West Main Street is this large chunk of general business. And the intention was to kind of promote general business uses, trying to revitalize the Steinsville area along West Main Street there. Here's the current zoning map. The parcels that are highlighted in light blue, those are the parcels that are in question for this rezone petition. Okay, here we have the West Main Street. These are all the parcels involved. You'll note that the stars are highlighting the parcels that are currently vacant. So that would be Part B. Okay, and here I have a table. All this is included in the packet as well. The blue is Part A and the red is Part B. You'll note that all of the red is listed as vacant parcels. And you'll also note that this parcel right here, 8248 West Main Street, This parcel itself is operating as a residence, but also having a home daycare. Both of those uses are pre-existing non-conforming. And specifically, the property owner here is still waiting on getting official permits because of the issue with the zoning. So that is at least one specific case where a property owner is being impacted by the general business zone when they want to use residential type uses. Here we have the site conditions map for the Part C, which is the fire station. Up here in the top of the map, that is the fire station's location where my cursor is. And this red polygon is the approximate location of or dimensions of the proposed subdivision that is going to be coming down the pipeline. Here's some more exhibits of the proposed subdivision. Planning staff has received an initial application, but we're still working with the petitioner to get that cleaned up and to get it fully accepted. And then here we have a long list of consent from the property owners that are involved in this rezone. All of them also received the appropriate notifications. Planning staff made sure to provide notification to all the neighbors as is required, but also we noticed the petitioners themselves just to ensure that everyone was aware and that everyone had an opportunity to come to the Planning Commission meeting and the meeting this morning. I'll not take any questions.
Commissioner Jones?
No, I actually, I don't.
Commissioner Thomas?
I don't have any questions. I just want to say that there was some concern expressed by members of the Planning Commission that I agree with, which is that we really need to have a better plan in place for Steinsville, and we're really missing that, but that's going to take some time to develop something like that. But because we don't want to entirely gut the possibility of commercial venues, especially on Main Street. So that's just something to think about. Thank you.
So I haven't overseen this kind of rezone before, so I could use a little coaching. Do I now ask for comments from the petitioners?
You can ask the petitioner if they want to speak, and then you need to specifically ask for support.
Okay, is there a petitioner present either in the Nat U Hill room or online who wishes to speak? Seeing none, is there anyone who wishes to speak in support of this petition? Is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition to the petition? I can't see if there's anybody online who wishes to speak. So, thank you. Okay, seeing none, I'll come back to the board. Is there any other further comment? So is it okay to call for a vote then? Okay.
Yes.
So then I will call for a vote on ordinance 2023-8 for the Steinsville rezone. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 3-0. Thank you, Mr. Myers, for all your hard work on this.
Thank you, commissioners.
We have no appointments today. And I forgot my announcement sheet, of course, because it's been a day. But we do have upcoming blood drives, I know, at Ivy Tech. And if you give me a second, maybe I can get there to find them. But nothing is going very fast today. I believe that there's one tomorrow, if I can find it. And again on Friday, and then there are some in March. But as I'm looking for this, I want to remind everyone that if you are in need, you can contact your township trustee to help with assistance for rent, for utilities, for emergency medical bills. Thank you, Commissioner Thomas. The blood drives are tomorrow, Thursday, February 16th from 1 to 6 p.m. and Friday, February 17th from 10 to 3 p.m. at IB Tech. Then there's also one Wednesday, March the 8th from 10 to 3 and Friday, March the 10th from 1 to 6. All these are at IB Tech and you can register at redcross.org. This is vital. Each unit of blood that's donated can benefit up to 3 people. So it's a way to give, another way to give back to our community. Does anyone else have any announcements?
Office hours.
Oh, yes, we have virtual office hours that we hold 6 times a month. You can find those online and on the county's calendar. You
Yeah.
can join us virtually, and those are not recorded. They're private conversations with the commissioners.
And then I just want to note that we are still accepting applications for boards and commissions. We still have some vacancies.
Yes, thank you. If there's nothing else, we will adjourn this meeting. We will return next week on February the 22nd for the next commissioners meeting. And it's now 10:40. When should we return for our work session? Because we've got several items.
10 to 11.
Okay, 10:50, is that okay? All right, we will be back in 10 minutes. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Want to call to order this work session of the Monroe County Board of Commissioners. It's February 15th, 2023. And first on our agenda is we want to hear from Daniel Brown in planning. Is Mr. Brown available? There we are. Okay. Could he please be promoted to panelist?
Hello, can you hear me all right?
Yes, thank you.
All right. So this is a rezone for one parcel totaling 18 more or less acres in the Richland Township at 7935 West Ratliff Road. The petitioner is proposing to amend the zoning map from planned unit development to agricultural rural reserve.
Just a second, Mr. Brown, just a second. Can we see you on the screen? And especially if you're going to be showing anything? Right now, we're just hearing your voice. Sorry to interrupt you. Thank you. Okay, here we go. Please resume. Now we're not hearing anything. So could you back up a little bit and turn on your audio?
Okay, I think that did it. I apologize for that. Am I still screen sharing? Yes, okay. So the petition site is one parcel totaling 18 acres more or less at 7935 West Ratliff Road in the Richland Township. The petitioner is planning to alter the zoning from planned unit development to agricultural rural reserve to bring it back into what is the surrounding zone. In the past, the site was meant to be rezoned into a planned unit development, but the owner has not submitted a development plan to date. The impetus for creating the PUD was to establish an agricultural event center, which at the time was not a permitted use in agricultural rural reserve, but is now a conditional use at this time. The petitioner intends to also utilize this lot with a 40-acre lot they own directly to the south to create a 4-lot sliding scale subdivision. If the rezone request is approved by the county commissioners, the petitioner intends to apply for a sliding scale subdivision, and all subdivision control ordinance requirements for a sliding scale subdivision will apply. If the rezone is denied, then the petitioner will be unable to utilize this lot for a sliding scale subdivision, as the process for a sliding scale subdivision is only applicable in the agricultural rural reserve, forest reserve, and conservation residential zones. And here is just a map showing the slope of the property, as well as some site photos. Here's aerial pictometry of the property. And here is just some on the ground photos of the property showing a barn, a 1-story residence that's currently on the lot, a carport, as well as some pictures of the area itself. There's also a barn here that the owner says was formerly concrete and that he put wood on the sides of it. We took a look and it looks quite old, and I believe at the Plan Commission meeting, it was brought up that it might be a historical building. We have looked through the SHART database and have not found any historical structures on this property. Just a trail leading to the back towards the south, and more images of the fields. Right, and are there any questions?
Mr. Jones,
No, I don't.
Commissioner Thomas? This is the first I've seen of this, and so I'll need time to dig through it before I have questions, I'm sure. When do, when do we want to see this back? Do we want to see it back next week, 2 weeks? What's your pleasure?
Next week is okay with me.
Thomas, next week? Okay, well, if you could bring us back to us next week, Mr. Brown, that seems to work with everybody's schedule. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we do have a few other, at least one other item to discuss, and I believe that Mr. Cockrell's here with us.
Yes, and I actually have two items that I'd like to mention. The first is the Department, Indiana NDOT had put out a information that they are surplusing some real property in Monroe County, and the property they are, and the deadline to express interest is February 20th. The property they are looking to surplus is a kind of lot immediately south of the old Hoosier Energy building off Kavanaugh Road, and I believe it has some limited access to I-69 from that site. It is an approximately 44-acre site that has some buildings on. I think the use that they had kept it for was to provide maintenance and snow and ice removal for I-69. So it's got some kind of outbuildings on it, looks like. And so with the deadline being February 20th, I do have a call into NDOT to kind of get a few more details about the property, but I'm assuming that this is something we will have an interest in and that we should go ahead and alert NDOT that we do. So if you guys are comfortable with that, let me know and I will proceed forward.
I think we just need more information. But I think we should proceed.
I was going to say, what does it mean to express interest? What kind of commitment does that make?
That's one of my questions to them.
Okay. Okay, well then, I move that we express interest with the old Hoosier Energy property, or the surplus property from the state, and would direct Mr. Cockrell to pursue that.
Second.
Is there any comment or any other questions? Well, Mr. Cockrell, please move. Oh, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Then Mr. Cockrell, please move forward with that.
And my second item is last week you had appointed someone to our health board, but we did not have a formal removal at last week's meeting for that. The appointment was made because the health board, as it was constituted, did not have the required professionals under state code. Namely, it was missing a licensed physician, and the person appointed last week was a licensed physician. But so given that, we met the portion of the code for how it is, but then we ended up with one extra person on that board. Looking through the history of that board, one of the members had met a reason for disqualification from the board under Indiana code. And so I would recommend that you would remove Ashley Craner from the board due to that reason.
So moved.
Second. Is there any other questions or comments about this issue? I would like to thank Ms. Craner for her participation and her commitment to this. I know that she has a background in
Absolutely.
public health, and appreciate all the time she's devoted to various endeavors to the county. So this was not anything that is meant as negative toward Ms. Craner. It's that we had to come into compliance with the statutory requirements in this instance. So again, thank you, Ms. Craner. So I guess we need to take a vote on this then. All those in favor of removing Ashley Craner from the health board signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 3-0. So is there any other item for the work session? Seeing none, we will adjourn this meeting. We will return next week. Thank you.